Oh, so many of the people I love.
Ah, Chris.
It's a party. I love it. Oh my gosh. You know what? Everybody here is awesome. I know a bunch of you, and the rest of you, I just assume we're awesome because I don't know. I'm lucky. I'm lucky this way. Oh my gosh. Hail, hail, the gang's all here. I know a lot a past mastermind. What I want you to do, know that everybody here is good people and share your name and either your website or Substack, whatever it is that you want people to know who you are. And then people can click around while we wait for some of the stragglers to come in. Hi, everybody. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Laura. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Mary. Oh my gosh. Oh, and Lynn is coming. I feel like this is a party. I have a fresca, but I should have brought champagne. This is so great. I love it. We could have fun and learn things. Okay. Let me see. 11:02. I know there's going to be some more little stragglers. I can be a straggler myself, so I have straggler empathy. Um, and oh, somebody says it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Oh, for the champagne. Yes, yes. I thought it was like a time difference thing, because some people are having trouble figuring out what 11 EST is, and all of that. Um, Ellen, they still make Fresca. And I showed this to my son, and he thought it was like a newfangled thing, and he loves it. So now we always have Fresca on hand. Um, Hi Megan, hi everybody. John, welcome. And Cheryl, welcome. I want to say everybody's name. And some people aren't using the video feature, which is fine. And if you have to leave early, I'm going to have a recording of this somewhere. So I just want you to know
Great.
if you are putting your face. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to take you through a presentation. And hopefully we'll have lots of like insights and epiphanies and all of that. And then afterwards, I'm going to tell you about a way to work with me, just to let you know that up front. But I'm also going to take your questions. And I hope to make this interactive for you guys so you can learn things and then ask things that are tailored to your needs after. And if you want, what you could do, if something is like a question that pops into your mind as I'm going through it, just put it in the chat. And then what I'll do is I'll look through the chat afterwards and I can either bring you up and we can talk, or I could just take what you wrote and just answer it from there. Your choice, whatever your comfort level is on talking in a group and all of that. Okay. So without further ado, here we go. Let me move this down here. Okay. So as you know, because you're here, oh, more people coming. My name is Karen Salmansohn, and I love to help entrepreneurs grow their visibility, the trust factor they have with their potential audience, and also like make sure that you're enjoying what you're doing. You're not just in it for the money, you're in it for the fulfillment. And everybody mangles my last name. They're always going Salmonson, Salmonson. Even people that know me, I won't name names, but I've recently got an email from somebody that I've known on here for like 10 years, and they spelled my name Salmon. Because you know what happens is like it's just so you just think it's salmon, but it isn't. It's not salmon. So I've made my website not salmon.com because nobody can spell Salmonson. And if I made people spell it, I'd have three people coming to the website. And instead, I have hundreds of thousands of people coming to my website. I've built a high domain authority, high traffic website, and I'm going to be sharing some of the techniques that I've done to get people to come hang out at my website. And I'm a big believer in search engine optimization. So, spoiler alert, some of what makes my site so popular is SEO. And I'm going to be sharing some of those techniques with you today. On social media, I'm also not salmon. Again, it makes it so much easier to remember. And I have 120,000 followers on there, but a lot of my posts go viral. So even though I have only 120,000, I've reached 3 million a month. That's not even unusual to reach 3 million a month. Um, so hold on, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Wait, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do actual size. No, I'm going to do enter full screen. Okay, here we go. So many of my posts reach, I'm going to make, how do I make this as pretty as possible? There we go. 440,000 views for a post or 400,000. It's not unusual. Not every post, uh, gets this much attention, but I have them a lot. And then what I do is I figure out why, and I try to do more of that. I not only learn from my mistakes, I learn from my non-mistakes. I pay attention to what I'm doing right and try to be a scientist about it. And I recommend you guys do that too. On Facebook, I have 1.2 million followers. And I do have strong traffic there as well with, 8.2 thousand shares or 5,500 shares. But back in the day when Facebook was first getting started, I used to have like a million shares and like a half a million shares, but they changed their algorithm on us. And so I feel like it's very frustrating because I got spoiled with that reach. And this is one of the dangers of depending too much on a social media platform where you don't have the people's emails. So they control how many the people that actually signed up to see you get to see you, which is why, another spoiler, I love Substack because Substack, when they sign up, you grab their emails too. And that's a power that Facebook and Instagram don't give you. And Facebook and Instagram can change their algorithms, and you're not really talking to the people that signed up to have a connection with you. So today I'm going to share lots of tips to help you to go viral and become a leader in your field. And I'm going to be sharing what's helped me. And in fact, I had my most successful years in my 60s because I'm always learning and reinventing. And these are some people that have given me testimonials: Seth Godin, Ariana Huffington, Deepak Chopra, Jon Stewart, Tim Ferriss, Marie Forleo, Tony Robbins, and many more. Now, a lot of people know me as a branding and marketing expert. And hold on, more people coming in. And then a lot of people also know me as a best-selling author. But the reason why you know me, if you know me as a best-selling author, is because of my background as a branding and marketing expert. These things are very much intertwined. What I learned as a branding and marketing expert is what's keeping my business thriving since I quit my job in advertising literally 35 years ago. And so I credit my my background in advertising. One of my more successful books was called How to Be Happy, Damn It. And I wrote this in a time before people had naughty words in their book titles, particularly personal development, self-help books. Nobody had naughty words in them. And I remember when I told my agent about the idea for How to Be Happy, Damn It, with damn it in the title, which isn't even that naughty compared to today's, words like, I can't even say it. Fuck, there I said it. So many words in these books now. But my agent was like, oh my God, you can't put that word in. But I believed in it because what I noticed something missing in the marketplace, which is one of the things that I think my brain does very well, is notice things that aren't there. And so what I noticed was I was reading self-help. This was back in the 80s and the 90s. And I would rip off the covers. I didn't want to be seen in cafes reading them. Or I would want to give the book to a friend as a gift, but feel like I don't know how they're going to take it because it's like I'm saying, here, you need to read a self-help book. So I thought there should be self-help for people that wouldn't be caught dead doing self-help, or self-help that you could give to a friend as a gift and it looks kind of cool and they're not going to punch you. And that was the idea for How to Be Happy, Damn It. And I'm a creative director as well as a writer, and I art directed the whole thing on the inside. And it came out and it sold 250,000 copies, was in an Eminem video that he found the book on his own. And you see the camera pass him in one of his music videos, and also recommended on Oprah and a PBS special. And then it spawned a bunch of other Damn It books and a lot of other self-help books. And that's how I wound up in the personal development area. Although my first book was a novel, and I've written humor books, all kinds of different books. Altogether, I've authored over 40 different books published by a lot of top publishing houses. And I have written all different kinds of books, humor books, kids books, business books. So I like to kind of shake it up for myself. I get bored if I'm doing the same thing too much. But this allows me to help clients who are writing in different areas because I know about fiction and nonfiction, and I know about kids' books, and I know about gift books because I've, had my finger in each of these little book pies, so I know how to do them. So a few of the things that have helped me to be consistent is what I mentioned briefly, my accidental MBA in marketing when I started my career in advertising. And I got a Clio my first 6 months in the business for an ad I created for Kodak. And then I went on to become a senior VP, award-winning ad writer and creative director in my late 20s. And I worked for big places like J. Walter Thompson, McCann Erickson, Young and Rubicam. And then I quit to write books. And then I quickly realized that the same principles that sell billion-dollar brands can also sell personal brands like books or anything like courses. I use the same kind of marketing psychology to create my online business too. And one of my quirkier claims to fame is I was the one who came up with the name Sandwich in a big J. Walter Thompson competition to name the Burger King new breakfast sandwich at that time. Although I came up with another name at the same time, Pierre, like French, but with Whopper. But they like was sandwich better. And that word won. And it just shows what even a single word can do, naming a product, how important that is for your business. And I love to help people to name courses, to name books. I love coming up with names for things. Some of the other reasons I credit my success and why I think I can help my clients and have helped clients is that my brain is wired for both creativity and the geeky tech stuff. So I'm a right brain, left brain kind of gal. And I'm also an outside of the box thinker. And I put this little sentence outside of the box to symbolize that. And speaking of outside of the box, I'm going to start the tip version of this seminar now by sharing a quick tip, a copy framework that really converts. And I noticed this back in my advertising days, and I share it with my clients. And I got to tell you, I see a lot of people making a mistake not using this. And once you fix this, you will see higher conversion rates. And it's what I call intrinsic versus extrinsic copy. What do I mean by that? If I'm trying to sell a healthy cookie, I could say 100% all natural ingredients. And you think, oh, yeah, that's a great way to sell the cookie. But it's even better if you say healthier for you and your family. If you cut to the chase and just tell people what's in it for them, because we live in a world of self-interest and people want to know, well, what's in it for me? And you save them a step if you just start off telling them what you can do for them and then back it up with proof. Healthier for you and your family because it's 100% all natural ingredients. And I go to a lot of people's websites because I help people with websites, and I see in the top banner copy, they just have the intrinsic, what they do, and they don't say what they can do for you. So the first thing I do when I go to somebody's site is make sure they have the extrinsic benefit at the top of their website. Another example of this is I was working on a cold medicine and I was writing a 30-second commercial. And when you write 30-second commercials, you have about 50 words that you can use. So you have to make sure that every word counts. So I literally count my words. And I remember I was looking and trying to figure out how to nip and tuck the wording. And I noticed that I had the word cold medicine, and medicine is an intrinsic word. And I thought, oh, what if we call it cold relief? So I changed it in the 30-second commercial to cold relief. Everywhere I said cold medicine, I said cold relief. And that's what people really want. That's what's in it for them. So that one little word change was something the client absolutely loved. So I look for that also in copy, taking the intrinsic and making it extrinsic like that. So some quick examples I have here. And by the way, I'm going to be posting this video afterwards somewhere. So if you want to go back and look at these examples, if something here relates to your business, you'll be able to, pause the video and screenshot this or just read it over for yourself. But, some examples are, you don't want to say project management software. You want to say what is in it for the person that would be your potential client. Stop wondering what your team is actually doing all day and say it in relatable words. Don't try so hard to be like I see people use very fancy words or what I call perfume copy, where it sounds like really pretty, but you don't know quite what it means. It's like beautiful wording, but you're like, well, what does that actually mean? So being very clear, talking to people as you would actually talk to people. So for me, some examples for me, I could say best-selling author and marketing branding consultant, but if I'm appealing to someone to sign up for um, consulting with me or my mastermind, I would be more likely to say, stop losing clients to competitors with worse services but better websites, because I help people with their websites. Or I could say, I love helping entrepreneurs and businesses to create messaging that turns cold traffic into where have you been all my life clients. Or I love helping entrepreneurs and businesses to finally sound like themselves instead of every other boring expert in their industry. So say it in a way that has your brand personality sprinkled in, but really clearly tells people what's in it for them. And I actually do love all of those things because another way that my brain works is I love problem solving. So I love figuring out, well, why isn't this working? How can we make this work? If something isn't working, I love problem solving to understand why. So here's an example of problem solving from my own life. An example from when my son was born. So I had my son back in 2010. I was a late in life mom. And when he was born, I was overwhelmed and exhausted all the time. And I had what I jokingly called mommery loss. I'd go into the kitchen for a cup of coffee and then I'd forget why I was there. And it became clear that my old way of making income wasn't working for me because it was hard to juggle in motherhood and the old way, which is more hands-on. I needed passive income. So I decided to jump into the online course business because I had heard lots of great things about the online course business for making passive income. So at first I was a little overwhelmed because it looked like a very voluptuous learning curve. And at the time I was in my 50s, and my first limiting belief was, oh my gosh, I'm too old to learn this. And then one day, my 8-year-old son came into the living room and he asked me to buy him Adobe Premiere. He said he wanted to make these little videos. And I was so proud of him for wanting to make those videos, but I had to tell him, Ari, mommy doesn't know how to use Adobe Premiere. I can't teach you. And he said to me, that's okay. I'll teach myself. And his confidence was really kind of like a big wow to me. And I was very proud of him. So I said, okay, I'll buy you Adobe Premiere on a monthly basis because there's a way to just buy it per month. And we'll see how you do with it. So I bought it for him. He went running into his room, all enthusiastic and excited. And a couple of hours later, he called me into his room and said, Mommy, look what I made. And he made this movie with like flying fonts and sound effects and special effects. And I was like, wow, if my 8-year-old son can learn Adobe Premiere, I can learn how to make online courses and create a business from it. So I thank my son for giving me that like limiting belief buster. And I did. So as a lot of you know, because a lot of you know me as an online course creator, I became a leading online course creator. And I've taught clients how to make online courses and make a living, make a killing without killing yourself, because passive income is a beautiful thing. I'm telling you all this so you know, reinvention is learnable. It's not too late. And if I can do it in my 50s and now even in my 60s, you can do it too. So a new thing I taught myself in February of 2025 is Substack. And I now use Substack as an income generator and a community builder. And I'm excited to share a little bit about that today. I have two Substacks. The first one is called The Stand-Up Philosopher. And by the way, a quick moment here. My name is here, but my publication name is The Stand-Up Philosopher here. And this one is really personally mine. I have a second Substack, which I'll share here. This one I started over the summer for a different purpose. This one is called Some Things Worth Sharing. And my goal for this is to promote businesses in it, because I have a list of about 70,000 people here. So this one, just so you know, for here, I have a ConvertKit list of about 100,000 people. So this one did get the jump head start of about 20,000 people from my ConvertKit list. And then this one, or like 25 or 23, whatever it was, there's about 100 altogether. And then I took the rest of them and I put them here. And my goal is to use this to promote businesses for a small fee. This is going to launch soon. And if you're interested, reach out to me afterwards and I can tell you more about it. I love Substack because it solves the short attention span problem that other social media suffers from. And focused attention is the number one predictor of online revenue. And Substack gives you that. So in other social media, you get distracted scrollers, you get accidental readers that just show up because they see you in the algorithm with very short attention spans. And with Substack, you get focused readers who value what I call lifelong learning. That's what I think of with Substack readers, because they're bothering to read a longer article. To me, they're willing to put in that effort. It means they want to grow. And then they're intentionally searching for content on there because they want to grow and they have interests that they want to read more about. And they respect the writing that's on Substack. And a lot of it is so amazing. You really get excited to discover new voices on there. And they're actually paying attention because sometimes they're actually paying for the content. And the fact that you can have both paid and unpaid content makes you feel like, wow, a lot of this content is worth paying for. Substack is a higher quality content social media platform, if we even call it social media. I guess you'd still call it social media, but not like Instagram or Facebook. Best of all, your audience not only chooses to follow you, they give you their email. And these days, I believe whatever business you're in, you should be in the email collection business. And as I mentioned before, algorithms can block you from talking to your audience. That's what happened with Facebook. They changed their algorithm. And that can't happen here because you have the list. And you can also download the list from Substack. It allows you to do that. It doesn't just have to live on Substack. It's like a giant lead magnet machine. And there's so many other reasons I love Substack, which I'm going to be getting into today. But I love that there's no algorithm to hide your content because you can email them directly and you own your list. Plus, Substack content, when you email it to people, unlike a newsletter, when you send them a newsletter, it just vanishes. On Substack, the content lives forever. So your emails become long-term discoverability assets, unlike a newsletter where it's just gone. And I also believe long form equals stronger connection. You can't really solve problems in 280 characters. You can't even have that heart connection as well. And Substack lets you develop ideas and show off your thinking and really help people. So other kinds of social media, it's like hot takes and sound bites with substance. With Substack, it's funny, Substack substance, yeah. It's depth and substance. And your readers come wanting connection, and they're not looking for like this quick hit soundbite. They're looking to find people that they really feel they have that connection with, that they can learn from. And then, as mentioned, there's the payment psychology edge because people think that, oh, some of this content is worth paying for. They really view Substack as having higher quality content, and they're already primed to value your content, whether it's paid or unpaid, unlike Instagram and Facebook, which is sort of like more junk food. And Substack is more like the meal, the quality meal. Plus, Substack has definite community, really wonderful community. A lot of you that I saw your faces on here are from my Substack community, and you really get to know people. I get to know people from my comments. After a while, you recognize people that are like regular commenters, and you feel like you know them. People write like long comments. It's not like some social media where you see like these trolls that are just like leaving really obnoxious comments. These are like deep and thoughtful comments. So you have actual conversations and you're really engaging with people. So the bottom line is Substack is where people who value lifelong learning go to improve their lives. They're paying attention, they're paying money, they're looking for help. So I think you got to be there, especially if what you're doing for your business is helping people. And I feel like the people that are on Substack, because they're lifelong learners, will really value entrepreneurs that have a service, product, course, book, anything that helps people, because I think that's the main consistent psychology of a Substack reader. If you're bothering to read longer form content, it means you're willing to put in the work to live your best life. Substack also offers 3 SEO advantages. So it helps you to find the right people who actually want to find you. So what is SEO? Well, it stands for search engine optimization, but another way to describe is it's a matchmaking system for other people's pain points and your solution. So someone out there is Googling their problem at 2 a.m. and you want to be the answer that they find. And SEO is wildly highly converting, far more than ads, because people are feeling a pain point or seeking a transformation while they are actively searching for you. And ads just kind of randomly find people who are casually interested in something. So if somebody at 2 a.m. is Googling, heal a broken heart, and they find, like, for example, my broken heart recovery course, they're already in that pain point and they're hoping that you are their solution versus an ad that just flies by because, analytics say that, oh yeah, this person might be interested in broken heart recovery. In a Google search, if they're Googling you, they're interested. And so SEO audience has a much higher conversion rate than ads or anything. And it's free if you do it well. So as mentioned, I am an SEO geek. and I do SEO very well. And I have a domain authority of 55, high traffic site. And I wrote this article, 44 free SEO tools, which you can just put that into my site. And again, I'm going to be sending you this video afterwards, and you can find it there. I'll include the link. But I have all these great SEO tools, and I'm going to take you through one or two of them right now for you to see how easy these are when you use them. Substack offers SEO in three ways. First of all, Substack articles show up in Google searches. So you get that. But whereas if you just put it on your blog, then you're absolutely hoping that somebody's going to find you in a Google search. This is like better than a blog because people also search inside of Substack. They use Substack like Google. And now that there's AI at the top of Google searches, that might kind of cock block you from people actually seeing your site below because it's right up there. With Substack, if they put in their pain points or their transformational goals and they find you, there's no AI up at the top. They just find you. Either way, if you show up in a Google search, even though AI right now is stealing some of the traffic from your site, if you do SEO well, you will show up in ChatGPT searches, which I have. There have been people on that have found me when people sign up for a free call with me. It says at the bottom, "How did you discover me?" And lately, I've been seeing ChatGPT recommended you. So if you do ChatGPT, if you do Google well, ChatGPT will spread the word about you. Another thing I love about Substack is it offers you A/B testing on headlines. I don't know if a lot of you know that, but it does. And that's when you first send it out as a newsletter in the email form. You can test it, and then it decides which headline to use, which is always like very helpful because you don't even know. Just even tweaking your headline slightly can massively change your open rate and your click rate. And you know what's interesting from using ConvertKit for all of these years also, it also changes how they feel about the same exact content. I would have the same email with two different subject lines, and people would buy far more from one that starts off with a different subject line. Everything else is exactly the same. But if the title, the subject line, really gets them at hello, that can change if they convert into a paying client or not. So I love the A/B test on Substack. So Too Clever is to call an article the Chrysalis Chronicles, and it's better just to be clear and say how to navigate a midlife career change or something like that. And use the words that people actually search for, but then add like a little sprinkle of something. Another way to figure out what title to give your article is, first of all, you can put it in what you want to put in into a Google search, and it will pull up different things underneath. It will make some suggestions. We'll say, right up at the top even, midlife career change, midlife money, this. It will pull that up right at the top. But if you scroll down a little, it has this little area called People Also Ask. And this is what people are searching for. And you can keep refreshing this, and this will update. And Google is telling you what people are searching for. And then you can name your article or come up with an article idea because you know people are searching for it. And in the best case scenario, you could show up in the People Also Ask area if you do your article with good SEO and you do it wisely. But even if you don't win like the lucky lotto of showing up in the People Also Ask area, you already know people are interested in this. So for example, I just put in midlife here, but is 45 too old for a career change? People are searching for that. So you could write a whole article, is 45 too old for a career change, knowing that that's something that people are searching for, or what is the best career to start in your 50s. So you can figure out how to word things knowing that Google has collected this data. People are using these words to search for something. This is what they want. There's another thing in that article that I showed you that's up on my blog with the free SEO tools. And this one is called Answer the Public. And you can type in any word here and search. And what you'll see is this little circle that comes up, which tells you what people are searching for products with the word midlife, social media, AI models, and search engines. And because that's hard to read, I made it bigger so you can look. So you can see that you can find some of these are not surprising, but some of them are. Midlife crisis lyrics. What is that? Midlife crisis symptoms. Midlife crisis car. You might be surprised by what you see here. Midlife crisis in men. Midlife crisis, they had one for women too. So to actually pull that out and make the article a little bit more niche and actually use the words like for women or versus men, it could really, get more eyeballs on your article. And this is even telling you what people are searching for if you're trying to develop a product to see how much, people are searching for that particular thing. This is still the same free tool. You can see down here, these are other things people are searching for, the most common ones. What is meant by midlife? Is 35 really considered midlife now? These could be article titles. And I just put in the basic word midlife. If you put in something that had a little bit more personality to it, you could get something more, this is a very general word, but if you put in something very specific to what you're doing, you could get even more specific things here. But how to tell if someone is having a midlife crisis. But this is how people are wording it when they're putting it into search. How to cure a midlife cycle. And you know what? You can see that some people are using dashes. So that's also interesting. So here are some titles of mine that I've used on Substack that have worked, that are an example of how to create a good, strong title on Substack or anywhere really. So how to leave a legacy that matters without needing to be famous. So what I did was how to leave a legacy that matters is something that people would search for, but I added a little brand personality without needing to be famous. So I don't just like make it very flavorless SEO, just shove the SEO keywords in there. I always sprinkle brand personality. This one, I break a couple rules here because it's not exactly keywords, but it has curiosity. I do have some keywords in it. My therapist said something brutal. It changed my life. So it could rank for changing life, but sometimes curiosity also can help. But it does have some keywords in here. Therapist, if you cook with these words, Google knows it's about therapy. It knows it's about changing your life, especially if you repeat things inside of the article, which I also recommend, and we'll show you. This is using numbers. They've done studies on this and numbers. And by the way, I've had this tip for like the last 10 years. This one does not go away. People are wired to pay attention to headlines with numbers in them. And again, this is more curiosity and attention getting. I have 432 months left to live if I'm lucky. And by the way, this is a long headline. Substack allowed me to do this. And it worked. This is one of my more viral articles, 206 likes, 52 comments, 30 shares. So I filled a jar with 432 marbles and start removing one a month. And then I put this in because this is more the promise, the transformation, which is what usually keywords are based around, to remind myself to live more boldly. And I always kind of cook a little. I see it like cooking or seasoning with the subtitle, but sometimes I just make it like a quick scan. Here's what happened. So it makes you curious. I don't always have to keyword stuff this if it adds like personality to it. This was one where I put the keywords of pain points up here before I got into what makes the article more unique. And then here in the subtitle, I added more brand personality sprinkles. Um, so the pain points are lonely, invisible, depressed. And then this makes it more fun, an interesting science flavored theory about particles, aging, invisibility, and why it feels so good when the dog stares at you like you're Beyonce. So it gives the personality. 2 words, this is a number that can save your relationship with a little brand personality sprinkled in. This one's about aging. And throughout the article, I have headlines about aging. So you don't just put it in the title, you make sure you repeat the keywords throughout the article, but without keyword stuffing, just the right amount. You can't have too much of a good thing. You just want everything in moderation. Oh, and another thing I want to say, I create all my images with Canva AI, and I'm on Substack all the time these days, and I notice some people do not put the image at the top here, and you have to get them at hello. So I recommend you put your image right up top because that will pull them in to want to read, and you have to hook them at the hello. And I don't really recommend stock photography because I feel that gives like the aura of it being more of a general article. And the more you can flavor your brand personality up here with Canva AI kind of styled images for your brand, the more likely people will be like it sets a feeling that this article is poignant with more poignant images or funny or this one I use the image because and this is cut off but it has the jar of marbles. But most of them are like more my brand personality and my writing, like poignant, maybe sometimes with a little bit of wit in the visuals, a little humor. This one is upselling my book about death. And all of my articles upsell something, but I write about things that I am excited to write about because that's what gets me to write an essay a week. Um, but I also always know that I'm going to upsell something. So for a while, I was upselling my book, my book, my book, my book, because my book was new. But now I am upselling other things as well, like my one-on-one life reviews or my closure classes. So I think backwards, actually, just so you know. I think first, and this might surprise you. I don't know what you're going to make of this, but I think first about what I want to upsell. And luckily, the things that I want to upsell are things I want to write about. I want to write about mortality awareness. I want to write about living more boldly and living more authentically, which is what my book helps people to do. I want to write about living a meaningful life, which is what my book helps people to do. I write about a topic that I want to write about that will also lead to an upsell. So that's how I think. Another way to do it is, and this is very surprising, I can look at a sales page. Like I'm no longer really focused on selling some of my old online classes like Stop Emotional Eating. But if I was interested in selling Stop Emotional Eating, I would look at a sales page, and in my copy on my sales page, I will find something that could be really interesting to just kind of hone in on and write a whole essay about. And then at the bottom, I would upsell Stop Emotional Eating course. So sometimes I even look at my sales pages for ideas for an essay. Every Substack essay should offer a natural upsell to something. I always make sure of it. And in a way, the reason why I think Substack converts so well is it works the same way that a webinar does. A little bit like how I'm even talking to you right now. If you're doing a Substack essay write, you're talking to somebody. And so it's a real conversation. It just happens to be in words rather than in a live video. And people feel like they can get to know you and trust you. It's deeper and more personal than like something with Instagram or Facebook. So it feels like after you warm them up with the essay in the same way a webinar warms somebody up, and then you put in like an organically fitting upsell to something that relates to the topic in the essay. And this is why it's far more high converting than Instagram, where I just put up like, those little quote image posters and I have to do the heavy lifting and like 20 words in the poster, and hope that they read the caption copy underneath. But with Substack, they're really sitting with it, they're absorbing it. You have their focused attention for as long as it takes to read the article. So here's an example. I posted this the other day. My therapist said something brutal. It changed my life. And at the bottom of it, I upsold this way. Delayed brutal truth equals delayed growth. If you keep ending up in the same emotional loop, it's time for a life review session with me. So I upsell from an idea in the article, but it's not accidental. I actually begin with the ends in mind. I really want to get people to sign up for life review sessions. So I figured out the topic that could sell the life reviews. And if I'm selling something in the first place, it's because I'm passionate about that something. So it's easier for me to even write an essay that way. And then when I was selling my book, very focused on it, I would do various forms of this upsell below. This essay is your gentle reminder to live boldly while you're here, but I'm very direct about it. It isn't just a one-off essay, it's a philosophy I believe in, and I wrote a whole book about it. And then I upsell to the book afterwards. So I always make sure to include one very direct upsell underneath each essay. Another reminder, don't overdo the SEO keywords. When you're writing your essay, make it really feel natural. Everything should feel natural. The upsells should feel like you're talking to them. Your SEO keywords should feel like you're talking to them. Don't do it like stuffing in the keywords. Are you looking for midlife career change advice for women over 40? Don't just stuff it all in there. Really make it like you're talking to them. Write for humans using human language. So the best SEO has the keyword in the title, also in the first paragraph, and then in a couple of the subheads. And also vary your keywords naturally. So here's an example. For my Stop Emotional Eating course, it's called Stop Emotional Eating, but I called it different things in all the headlines here because some people, first of all, they might think, oh, I'm interested in Stop Emotional Eating course, but I don't know if I'm an emotional eater. I think I'm more of a stress eater, or I'm a binge eater. Or no, I don't know if I'm an emotional eater. I know I numb my feelings with food. So you're doing two things. The more you vary it, the more Google really believes that your page is about that topic. Because if you only just plug in the keyword itself like 5 times, Google's going to think, oh, maybe you're not really serious about this topic. But when they see variations of your keyword, that convinces Google that you're really writing around this topic. It looks for that. It scans the page to make sure you have variations of your keywords in it. But it also does the secondary thing of you never know which words are going to really appeal to somebody. So it also helps you to make sure that you might choose the exact right words. Well, somebody will be like, out of control eating. That's what I am. I am on the right page. And this goes for essays also. Another thing that I recommend, these are more for sales pages. A lot of people come to me and I see their sales page and it just says, watch a course summary. And that's missing this, Alexa, stop. It's missing the keywords up top. This is a great, what's called an H2 headline. So I always make sure to put my keywords here. It's very easy. Watch a Stop Emotional Eating course summary. And also I see a lot of clients coming to me and they don't have words, they don't have a thumbnail that also does a little bit of the selling for them. They'll just have like their face like mid-talk And you should let your thumbnails help you a little bit, a little extra lift there with words in there or an image that's very powerful. Don't just have your face like mid talk. Have something that's a real thumbnail that helps to sell whatever you're selling. And even if it's up on your Substack essay, still make it attractive. I cannot tell you how many people I see put up a video and it's them like that. Always make the thumbnails feel like, oh, I want to watch that. I want to click that. I want to see that. Another SEO trick that I tell my clients, a lot of people just say client testimonials above their client testimonials, but that's a waste of an H2 headline. That's what this is, which is sort of like a Batman signal to Google, and it tells them this is what the page is about, all of your headlines. And you want that Batman signal to have your keywords in it. So instead of saying client testimonials, I do things like, here's why students love Karen's Stop Emotional Eating tools. This does two things, gets my keywords in here, but it has an emotional connection. Instead of reading client testimonials, which is very dry, your brain absorbs, students love Karen's Stop Emotional Eating tools. And that kind of, works their way into the brain. And it really makes them think students love these tools versus client testimonials, which doesn't have like that kind of emotional connection. I'm like, oh, they love it, versus bland, dry client testimonials. So I always play around with this. And whenever I have a client, I make them change all their headlines from client testimonials to something more like this. So writing essays, people actually get excited to read. So the highest viral and converting Substack posts are about transformations, thinking about people's pain points, thinking about what they want to uh, change, get, grow, achieve. So those are the ones that I feel work the best. Stories work the best. When I first went on Substack, I wrote an article about doing your funeral now while you're alive, but it was written more like a boring, not boring, because it still was still had my humor in it, but it wasn't really a story. It wasn't me writing how I threw my own funeral while I'm 65 to experience my funeral now while I'm alive. It was more like a researched essay. Those do not do as well on Substack. You have to get your personality in there, make sure that, you elbow any AI that you're using out of the way, even if you use it a little bit, and get your personality out there, because that's what makes people want to keep following you. They feel like you have your unique personality. That's what's going to make you what I call fall in lovable. And I watch it with the AI. Sometimes I read the articles and there's almost like an AI accent after a while. Even as well, if it's well written, I can tell that that person didn't really get their own personality in there. And when you write a story of something that really happened to you, then you really kind of know it's not AI versus like an article that says 10 tips to relax on the weekends or something. Like, no, 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 that's not going to do well on Substack. And you have to hook them in the first couple of seconds. So don't say, in today's fast-paced world, many people struggle with work-life balance. Start with something that's kind of memoir-y. Like, I cried in my car before work 3 times last week. Then they start paying attention. And start with a moment, a confession, a surprising truth, not a preamble. And AI is usually not good with this. This is something that you have to, even if you kind of use AI to speed up your writing process, you always have to go in and rewrite everything. And quite frankly, I write myself more. I'm sort of like old school, but I might like ask ChatGPT and it always makes it worse. So I still feel like human writing beats AI writing, and I hope that is for like a couple more years to come. And in fact, I really do feel that that's what people are sensing in my essays, and I'm hoping that they are because I put time and effort. And I'm going to say this also, um, because I put time and effort into writing, I'd rather have less essays come out and have them be really strong. So when it shows up in somebody's email box, they're like, oh, this is a high quality essay, rather than get them to read lots of essays. So I'm fine if I only do one a week. Um, and if you're doing a lot of them a week, then I personally, I just want you to know, sometimes wonder if you're using AI, because I know how long it takes to write a really high quality essay. So I just want to say, try not to bombard people with too many essays for two reasons. First of all, it's hard to write really high quality essays in quantity. Second of all, it always makes me wonder if somebody's using AI. So short paragraphs, clear subheads, lots of white space. Write like you're texting a smart friend, not submitting a formal essay. So here's an example. Um, and this is very, very helpful. I'm going to tell you this. I love this tip for people. I love headlines and subheadlines for a bunch of reasons. First of all, SEO rewards you if you have headlines every at least like every 150 words, because good SEO is also what keeps people sticking around for a page. A lot of SEO rules are based on the fact that they know that people stay on web pages longer if they follow SEO. So the more headlines you have, the more likely someone's going to stay and keep reading. So it's a good SEO tool. It's also a good make them stay on your page rule, what's called sticky. It creates sticky pages. And it works for, I think, the same reason that when I was back in my youth, I used to do long distance running around Central Park, and I'd run around Central Park, and I would set little goals for myself, like must get to next tree. And then I would just run to the next tree and then see the next tree, run to that tree. And then I would keep running. And a headline does that psychologically for somebody. They kind of loosely in the peripheral vision see a headline. And they're like, oh, I want to get to that headline. Oh, I want to get to that one. Especially if they see something in it that might pop out from the peripheral vision. But if they see big paragraphs, their psychology is like, oh my God, that's going to be hard to read. So you can see I break things up in headlines, like almost like one line, one line, one line. And it's a trick to keep people reading. Sometimes single sentences will get them reading longer if you string enough of them one after the other. Even bullet points. There's been lots of studies that people are more likely to read copy in bullet points than if I had this in a paragraph. So I use bullet points in my essays. It makes it feel like more fun and simple to read. So I always break it up like this. So the first thing I do when I have a client is I try to go in and I break up all their paragraphs and separate them. So here, like if you see this from your peripheral vision, you kind of get curious. Masochist, what is that? Again, bullet points. If you analyze I do this because I believe there's something called the reader's trance. If you've ever been like reading a book that you absolutely love and you're just reading and reading, you don't even notice the time passing, and suddenly you've read like 50 pages, that's because you're in the reader's trance. And so you don't want to remove people from the reader's trance. And when you do like single sentences like this, but if something is like hard to read and then they wait, did I read that sentence? Because it's all bunched up in a paragraph. And again, people are reading this sometimes on their phone in restrooms on the toilet, you know. So if there's like a big paragraph that like it's harder to read, but if you make it easy for them to read, then they stay in the reader's trance. And I also recommend that when you have your headlines, that you make it the same copy as your essay and do not put in a headline that's a separate headline. I see some people doing that also because that could break them from the reader's trance, because now they're reading, and then they're taken to like some kind of more formal headline. Like here I might say, let me see, living life well. Some people say yes immediately. You know, it takes them out of the reader's trance. But if it's still flowing from the same essay, then they'll keep reading, keep reading, keep reading. So don't make your headlines separate from what your essay is. Make your headlines from your essay copy so you keep them in the reader's trance. So these are examples of that single. I'm very consistent in this, and I absolutely recommend it. And also, if you make the headlines from your copy kind of feel like fun to read, that also helps. If you'll notice, I use a lot of questions because that also keeps people reading. So here, you see this? Questions. It keeps people reading. But they're not like questions that are hard, like what is, 74 divided by 3, whatever it is. It's like questions that are like, keeps you reading. You know what's messed up? People are impatient with the elderly. And then short words sometimes. I vary the sentence structure, not like long run-ons. Whenever I work with a client, I go in, a couple run-ons are okay, but you want like short ones, you need like a rhythm there. And this asks the questions that have like that old guy taking forever to order his coffee. He used to have six-pack abs. Now, I made that its own sentence because it pops. If this was one big paragraph, it's almost like haiku poetry when you pull out a sentence from a paragraph and give it its own sentence, just like that. He used to have six-pack abs. In his set head, he's still that guy who thought he'd never get old. Moving it like that, it makes the impact more than if you shoved everything in one big paragraph. And people enjoy reading it more that way. Another question, that 9-year-old lady counting her change, men fought wars over dating her. Now that sentence pops. And you take it in as more of an emotional connection. And it keeps them in the reader's trance. If I had popped in a headline here, women also have this issue. Like then it takes you out of the reader's trance. Just make the headline. I know I've made my point clear, but I'm so passionate about this. I'm going on longer for this because I read a lot of essays on there. And every time I do, I'm like, I want to write a little note and go, but I don't. But now I have you guys, this captive audience. So I'm driving this point home. So here's the reader's trance thing. Make your headlines, your essay copy, everything I just said. And another thing that I say to my clients is if it's a very long essay, and essays can be anywhere from like 700 words to 1,200 words. Occasionally, I've put up ones that are 1,400 words. But if I realize I have a very long essay, I always put in extra visuals in the middle. And I do that because that's, again, the thing where I just want to get to the next tree. So this is from this same essay, and it's an alien with a shocking pink background and a green alien. If that's in someone's peripheral vision, psychologically, they will think, oh, what's that image? And they'll want to keep reading. It's like a trick to get them to go to the next tree, running to the next tree. They want to read whatever that image is. It's also like a relief from the reading that still keeps them reading. Whatever it is, it absolutely works. This is why kids read books with pictures in it too, Oh, what's the next page? What's the next picture? We never grow out of that. And this, by the way, it's Canva AI art. So, and Substack notes that work. I've been realizing I'm experimenting with that. I'm still trying to figure that out. And I definitely feel like little micro stories. I play around with length. I've noticed long ones work, but sometimes just a single sentence would work. One of my best ones was this one. Today I didn't die, so I did this instead. So that sentence brings them in. But if you notice, this was the copy, a lot of copy, but I did my reader's trance tricks here. Single sentence, bullet point, bullet, bullet, bullet point. And then a lot of single sentences. But most of all, I think this worked because I asked a question at the end. And the more engagement you get, the more likely it is to keep being shared, keep being shared, keep being shared. So try to ask a question at the end. Here I am. Are you appreciating your non-death day today? And people answered that in the comment. So learn from your non-mistakes. Consider yourself a scientist of success. Whenever something goes really well like this, I try to analyze why. Always end with the call to action, ask for likes and comments and shares, but be playful and real about it. Don't just say like, what did you think? Leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Feels desperate. Use your brand personality and make it fun. Ask questions that people actually want to answer. So I did that with Substack. I have this at the bottom. And I even look at my very beginning posts that I did back in February, and I didn't have that. And they have like less shares, less comments, less engagement. When you say, please hit the heart button, and then I make it fun, playful, people are more likely to hit it. And then I pull something from inside of the essay. This is a callback from the essay, and then have leave a comment. And people are far more likely to leave comments when you directly ask for it. And then one day I did batching of ideas to get people to click the like button, which is like low dangling fruit ask. Because sometimes people don't want to leave a comment, but they can always hit the like button. So I went onto Canva and I created like 10 of these in one day. And I just started putting different ones on the bottom of essays. Please hit the heart button below, unless your finger is broken, in which case I forgive you. So a bunch of different ones, and I batched them. I feel like batching is definitely the way to go for creative people, because what happens is your first couple might kind of suck, but if you stay with it, you get better and better and better. And maybe you get like one or two kind of like, you know, loser ones. And then as you fourth or fifth, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. So if I write the essay and think, okay, what am I going to write below to get people to hit the like button? My brain is not in that mode. So when I'm in, what I do is I think to myself, okay, today I'm going to take an hour or 30 minutes. I write a bunch of ideas to get people to hit the like button. And now that's all my brain is thinking. And then I get to the best, highest quality ideas to get them to hit the like button. So I don't do it after I wrote the article. I do it, schedule it. I'm going to write today how to get people to hit the like button. So I did these all in one day. I have a bunch of different ones that way. This one, gently boop that heart button below. If this resonated with you, share your thoughts below. I always read them. Let's pass the mic to you. I different ones for this. Even with the share thing, send this to whoever you text, made me think of you memes. I did a bunch of variations, send this to whoever, and then I came up with other little funny ones. I did like what's called a campaign of these. And same with the subscribe invite. You want that to be extrinsic, not intrinsic, not like, please subscribe to support my work. Make them feel what they get if they subscribe. Make them feel like they're part of something if they join, if they subscribe to you. So I have a bunch of these that I've been using. Everything here is written by a human for other humans because I feel like people on Substack might be suspicious of AI, and I really am a human writing these. I love when I tell people I have like 40 books and some of them were written like 20 years ago, and they go, oh, you really wrote the book if it was written 20 years ago. Yes, I've been a writer. This is what I do. Don't take that away from me, please. AI. I want to keep writing. So everything here is written by a human for other humans about the various ways we try, then fail to be okay, so we try again. So I do write about that, pain point transformation. A couple of other ways that I upsell. And again, you'll have this video afterwards. I'll post it somewhere. So if you want to just take notes on what I do here. Now, the next things I want to share are to stop paying for community platforms. At one point, I was looking at School and Circle, and they charge $99 to $2.99 a month before you even make a single dollar. And Substack can work exactly like School and Circle. So if you're considering those or have those, you could swap that just for Substack for free. So it does the same thing. Your paid posts are like a private community, like for School and Circle or Mighty Network. Your comments, you could set your chat to community chats. And what I'm going to do, because I realized the time, because I ad-libbed a lot here, I'm going to move through quickly so I can take your questions. Maybe when I post the video, I'll also post the PDF. I'll think about it so you can see more of what I'm sharing here. So I get to take your questions too. But The cliff notes are don't use School or Circle or Mighty Network, just use Substack that way. Here's a side by side, the benefits of Substack. So instead of like renting from School and Circle, with Substack, it's like you own the platform and everything. The other thing I did recently, and this one I'm so excited to share with you guys because this is an outside of the box thing. I now use Substack for my main newsletter, and I'm saving close to $9,000 a year. So I had a very large list, 100K subscribers, and ConvertKit was charging me $750 a month. So that's like 9,000 a year. What I did was I moved my people over to Substack, and now I have only 1K or less inside a ConvertKit. I still use it for my lead magnets, my ConvertKit, and my funnel. So it starts them out in the funnel on ConvertKit. And then when I get close to 1,000 people, I move them over to Substack. And they only charge $40 a month for 1K. So if you have a large list or if you're paying too much for your newsletter, I recommend just moving over to Substack. It's free. And there's another reason why. It gets into inboxes better. The same way if you ever send people a PayPal invoice, it doesn't usually show up in spam or promo folders. Substack is less likely to show up in spam and promo folders. So I love it for that too. And also, I believe the newsletter model is kind of dead. People aren't like wanting to read these like high marketing voice stuff. They'd rather read things that feel like a beautiful reading experience, that feel like a conversation. So I prefer just speaking to my subscribers through Substack than like writing these marketing emails. That's not who I am at this point. I want meaningful relationships even with my subscribers, and Substack helps you to have that. And then it also gets you discovery because after you send out your newsletter, it stays forever as permanent content on Substack versus if you just use ConvertKit or MailChimp or Constant Contact, poof, gone. Substack is there forever. So you can save a lot of money from this. Okay, so I'm sure you have a lot of questions and I'm going to be answering them. But first, I want to tell you, and I did ad lib too much. Sorry about that, but I hope it was helpful. I want to tell you a little bit about how you can work with me and why, because you can know what to do, but you might not actually do it. Information without implementation is just entertainment. So I have two ways that you can work with me. Way one is private and high touch, and the other way is communal. It's a mastermind. So the first way is you can do an audit and inventory of your business with me. I will spot your money leaks and help you to accelerate your growth. So what is an audit and inventory? It's a 1 hour review and brainstorm of your entire business that I do before we meet. And then we meet for 2 hours and we go through every touch point of your business together. Visual branding, storytelling, upsells, downsells, everything. And I identify what's working, what's not working, and why. And I brainstorm ideas for you. So you leave with what I call a swag bag of like, I'll write copy for you. I'll come up with like book title ideas for you, course ideas, essay ideas, all of that. And you'll get a transcript of our session with notes and everything. So it's like hiring a copywriter, marketing strategist, SEO expert, and designer all in one because I do all of those different things. And it saves you time, trial and error, and money in the long run. So normally it's $14.99, but if you sign up the next 30 days, I'm taking off $300 and it's only $11.99. You just use the code SAVE300 and you save $300. And I'm going to send you the link afterwards. This is the link, but I will be sending it to you. I might even put it in the chat when I'm done and I start taking your questions. And then the other thing is a 2-month mastermind, January and February 2026, where we work together in a group. And we're going to meet 8 times over 2 months in January and February. and you get direct coaching from me. I put you on what I call the hot throne. I was going to call it the hot seat, but I treat you nicely. I didn't want to scare you off. So I put you on the hot throne and I help you with your questions there. So I only have 15 seats, so you have to hurry to sign up, and I'll put the information down below. And if you can't make a session, you can email me your questions in advance and I'll answer them. And then you can watch the recordings later because all sessions are recorded and stored in a video library. And it's only $399 for 2 months or $220 a month if you want to be on the payment plan. You just pay each month. And I keep it small so I can give everyone attention and support. And my clients have seen lots of growth from these 2 months. So if you want to make 2026 your year of holy smokes, look at me now, MasterMind or the audited inventory. And AI is great, but human experience is better because humans really have been in the trenches. We know what works and what doesn't. And AI is just AI. And for now, I find human experience beats AI, chatbot stuff still. And I hope it does for like another year or two. But at this point, it's much better. I notice things that AI doesn't. So now I'm ready to answer any of your questions. I know I talked longer than I thought I would, but I see people without their videos on. And so I see that you're still here. And note to self, don't ad lib as much. So sorry about that. This was my coffee before I got the Fresca, and I think the coffee made me ad lib more. But I'm still caffeinated, so I can take your questions. Come at me. I can look in here and answer, but Laura, you're waving your hand, and Linda.
Yeah,
Okay, Laura first. Go ahead.
I just had a quick one. So you said Substack was free. Is that true? I thought
It's
it
free. Yes.
even for like using it as a CRM, because it sounds like you
Yes,
moved.
it's free.
I had no idea.
It's completely free.
Huh.
And I'm not really a penny pincher, but it does feel good to save about $9,000 a year.
Yeah, and
And,
I think ConvertKit's going up too, I think in the spring or yeah.
but it's also it's not as likely to show up in spam or promo folders.
Right.
And I think it feels more like a conversation versus like, here's my marketing information for you.
Hmm.
Like I like how it represents me more, like
Hmm.
it's not as hard sell. It's
Right.
softer, And yes, it's
Right. But it doesn't have that funnel ability. So you would still want something like a
yes.
kit to do the initial lead magnets and things
Initial
like
lead
that.
magnet.
And
Yeah.
then as you're doing your weekly publication, yes. Okay.
And
I think that's
I download them with the tags, how I tag them inside of a ConvertKit. So if I want to still talk to the people, I know what their tags are. So that helps me. And there's a way that I can even input because for me, I mean, if I just keep it under 1,000, that's very thrifty. So I could even put like if 900 of you signed up for my mastermind, which wouldn't happen because I have a cap on it. But I could take that list and put it into ConvertKit and still, email you each week from ConvertKit if I wanted to. In a
mhm.
like in a weird case scenario, I could still use it if I keep it under 1,000.
Okay.
Linda.
Love it. Love your ad libs. Love everything.
Oh,
Karen,
okay.
Karen helped me with my Substack. She's a genius. So go for it. I definitely would like to do the mastermind. You said
Oh,
you
yeah.
twice a
Let me put you the information. Let me put the information in here.
you said January and February twice a month, and we'd meet 8 times. Could you
Eight
read
times.
how do
Yeah.
you how do you
Oh,
meet 8 times twice a month?
okay. I will show you. And hold on a second. Um, Here it is. I'm going to put everything in here, and I'll also email it to you guys in case you don't want to do an impulse purchase. But if you want to do an impulse purchase, here it is. Um, this is the link for the audit and inventory. This is the link for the mastermind. I meet twice a month. They're usually 2-hour sessions, so I can take everybody's questions. And they're on Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern, the second Friday and last Friday of each month.
But that's 4 sessions. You mentioned 8 sessions.
Oh, did I do my, oh, no, it's 8 hours. If I wrote, I meant to write 8 hours. Maybe I
Okay.
did, maybe I didn't, but that's what I meant to write is 8 hours.
Thank you. That makes more sense. Great. This was great. As always, thank you.
Sure. Uh, PJ, do you want to ask something? You want to ask about books or something like that?
I did want to ask about books in terms of self-publishing, because I am not a Karen Salmansohn and I do not have an agent to help me out with that kind of thing. But I'm working on building community with my a body detox club thing, and that's a community of people looking for natural alternatives. And how do you do really clean laundry and clean dishes and body products? You put, our skin is our biggest organ. So what you
Could you,
make sure,
you're a little bit, I'm having trouble hearing you. Could you back up a
okay,
couple sentences?
yes.
What were you?
Okay. Yes, I'm trying to create community with the Body Detox Club and have that be a funnel to have the upsell then be the misdiagnosis book
Oh,
afterwards. And would Substack still be a good resource, something like that?
absolutely, because then you are a writer. PJ is a very good writer. I helped her write a book and she's fantastic on her own. She's fantastic. I love she's funny and smart and she knows her stuff. I think you would do really well on Substack. And by the way, I'm recommending it because I love it. I make no money and I'm not like an affiliate because there is no way to be an affiliate. And I'm just excited about it. And I truly think you would do well on there. And I also think that Substack does well to upsell books because these are people that are already readers. So they're not like afraid of reading a book, whereas somebody on TikTok might, although there is the book talk on TikTok, but the short attention span people are probably statistically less likely to put in the effort to read a book. But if you're already on there reading essays, you're more likely to buy a book. So, and you get to show off your knowledge on Substack. So I think you would thrive on there. Yeah.
It seems like it's something for, oh, I woke up with a good idea this morning. I'll write an essay about it and do a little search engine optimization and look up some terms and go ahead and publish it on
Yes.
Substack. Yeah.
Yes,
And
definitely.
would would the smarter move be to uh, well, you have a couple, you said you have a couple of different platforms or a couple of different accounts on Substack, and one is for the stand-up philosopher and one is a more a personal account. I think I heard
One
you say.
is, yeah, one is going to be for people that, like, for example, might want to sell their book or even get more people to show up on their Substack. It's going to be called Some Things Worth Sharing. And I've warmed it up first with some of my essays, but I actually don't want to be the writer on there. The only way I would be the writer is I could do a Q&A with somebody, or I could even do a video interview with somebody and just put it up. But I'm also looking for people that want to just share an essay on there. And I'm going to charge a fee, but I keep going up and down with what I want to charge because don't want to be that much. But it's 70,000 people. So, and people often charge for a newsletter appearance. And this is better than a newsletter appearance because it's evergreen content up on Substack. So I have to figure out what my fee is on that. But, I'm open to giving the people that I know and love here, a good deal on there to reach 70,000 people.
Okay, so if I decided to use Substack for these two purposes, Body Detox Club community building, in order to support book sale, the book sale is the upsale there. Body Detox Club is really kind of a free thing, and I do want to get other people contributing. What are their non-toxic recipes that they use around the household? What do they feed their pets? What's their favorite dog biscuit
Well,
recipe?
you could use Substack as a community where you could ask people those questions. And
Yeah.
the more you ask, the more engagement you get. So that could be an interesting, fun way to gather, that information, like to use it almost like a survey and see what people say.
And I could have one be the upsell for the other,
Yes, 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 yes.
whichever way it goes. Okay. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Sandy, do you want to ask anything?
Earlier you had indicated that you had social media. Is it okay that I don't use social media? I have not used it since 2020. I'm just like, I'm an email person and I had a podcast. So I just wanted to,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for the mastermind, you mean, or even for the audit
yeah.
or anything.
Or even the audit when we do the
Yeah,
audit together.
absolutely. I, I still use Instagram and Facebook, but I had a running head start. I had like, I have a big audience there, so I'm not going to ignore it.
Yeah.
But the truth of it is, I love Substack more. I'm going to play favorites. I just love Substack, and I still go on Instagram, but I'm like, you know, you don't need it.
Okay.
You don't need it.
Yeah, because I know you do the statistics and the because when I do the audit with you, because that's something that's for me to just get some more knowledge for you. I know we spoke before, and I just wanted to let you know that my social media feed is just a little line, whereas I'm doing more into Substack and some Pinterest. I do have some Pinterest too, but I also have a podcast, and we can always look at some of the stuff that I have implemented and let you see the statistic, like the stats on what are the titles that were so interesting and so forth, just to get some
Yeah.
ideas on that.
Yeah. Well, when we do the audit and inventory, I send a list of questions for you and I ask you very specifically, what do you want to focus on most? So
Yes.
if you just said Substack and podcast, then that's where I just sub focus. Like I'm not going to talk to you about Instagram or Facebook.
Okay. All
You
right. Just add it out there.
Yeah, yeah. And
Sure.
then I could help you I would look at both your podcast and your Substack, and I'd go in and I'd be a blind spot spotter, and I'd see like, okay, what's she doing wrong? And then also compliment you, what's she doing right? Let's do more like, fan the embers of what's going great and then
Mhm.
blow out the stuff that isn't doing great. And then we figure it out. I can come up with ideas for podcast episodes or Substack essays
Or a book, because I forgot. I told you. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, a
or a
book.
book or an online course or a
Mhm.
product, even a
Yes.
product. Like I kind of brainstorm all different directions with that.
Okay. All right.
Collabs or podcast pitches. So your podcast could be on other people's podcasts, stuff like that.
Okay. All right. That works. Thank you.
Sure, sure. And I see we have some participants without the camera on. I'm going to scroll up here and see other questions. Bubbly bum bum. People that have been dancing around Substack are now interested in Substack, and people didn't mind my ad-libbing. Thank you. Um, Anybody from the participants that are not showing their faces right now. I want to at least type in a question. Uh, Lynn, Faith, Mark, John, I'm here for you if you want. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you this. I'd love to work with you, implement, because is that line between knowing and doing, and I can kick your tush to make sure you do. Oh, hi, Lynn. Do you want to ask me a question? No, you just want to say hi? Hi, Lynn. A lot of these people, Sandy, are people from my mastermind before who I love, who I miss. It's good to see faces that I know because I stopped the mastermind when I was writing my book. And now I'm back. And hi, Faith. Oh, so good to see everybody's faces here. Hi. Does anybody, do you want to ask questions or are you just here to let me see your beautiful faces? Lynn, Faith, any questions? No?
No, but this information is really critical because I took time off from my Substack and social media to edit my book, and I'm now putting together a rebranding strategy, and this is just exactly what I need. So thank you so much. as always, Karen, you are just so jam-packed with valuable information.
Oh,
Every minute with you is important.
thank
Yeah,
you.
you're so generous.
I know that's
So
part of the reason
appreciated.
I kept talking was I kept wanting to give the helpful information before I got to my upsell. So,
And you do.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
No,
This is
really.
great.
And I'm going to be sending out the links again for if you're interested in audit and inventory or to be part of a new mastermind with me. It doesn't start to January, so you have time. Well, actually, it might fill up because last time it filled up very quickly. But the $300 off offer ends in 30 days. Hi, Linda. Do you have another
How
question?
many people in the mastermind? How many are you
Um,
limiting?
15.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah. Okay, great. Hopefully I'll see you in January then.
oh, that would be great. I'd love to get the crew back together.
Yeah.
So, and new people, Linda, you would love Lynn and Faith and PJ
I
and
know, I
Anthony,
could tell.
right? I mean, it's like I love you guys.